Well, here we are again. Hey, folks, it's Jason, painfully honest tech, back, and today I'm gonna do this iPhone Air first look, whatever, but I'm gonna do it kind of in the podcast style that I've been considering doing instead of trying to do like a fancy review. I got some notes on the iPhone Air, and I'm just gonna go through and talk about it. And we can have a discussion down in the comments or anything like that. You got questions, you got comments, you got whatever, let me know down there. If you've watched my video right after the event talking about the iPhone Air, you will likely remember that I was not very impressed with the idea of the iPhone Air. I mean, I thought that the back panel here was like not really all that great looking. This plinth or plateau or whatever, I just didn't think that thin was going to be enough for it really to make a big difference. However, I got it out of the box yesterday and I did film the unboxing, but I don't know if anybody really cares about unboxings. These days, you take an iPhone out of a box and you peel a sticker off of it, and that's pretty much it. It does come with a braided cable if you care about that. But I really feel like this year's iPhone lineup is a bit weird. We'll get into why in a minute, but first, if you watch this video and you feel like, hey, yes, this has been something that I enjoyed, hit the subscribe button. If you've been watching videos on this channel for a while, then just hit the subscribe button. It'll make you feel better. It'll make me feel better. There's more iPhone coverage to come and all of that stuff. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty, right? Yes, right. I'm trying to put my notes up here on this here screen, and it just doesn't. All right, let's go full screen. Anyway, it links to all the stuff that I'm talking about in this video down in the description below. And with that, let's go on and just go through some of the greatest hits of like what people talk about when they talk about new phones. Design and build quality of this thing, very, very impressive. I honestly didn't have an expectation for what it would be like for this thing to be as thin as it is, but my initial impression is that it is an entirely different experience to hold this thing in your hand than any iPhone that I've had. And I've seen other people say, hey, this is like the first really big design thing for the iPhone since the iPhone 10. And that's a good point. That's a good point. The iPhone 10 definitely was a big change from what we had all the way up through the iPhone 7 or 8, all the way up through the iPhone 8. That's definitely a big change. And this is a huge change from something like this, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I'm just going to go overhead and kind of try and show you guys the difference between the Pro Max and the thinness factor is almost, it's probably 1/3 or a little bit more thinner than the 16 Pro Max. I kind of felt like the iPhone 16 Pro Max display was looking a little washed out. I felt like it just really wasn't quite doing its thing. And this display, much brighter. I mean, we got a Super Retina OLED XDR, 120 hertz, HDR10, Dolby Vision, 1,000 nits up to 3,000 nits peak brightness, 6.5 inches, which is smaller than this, which I thought would matter to me. It doesn't really feel like a huge difference when using this instead of this. I just feel like I do have a problem with iOS where some of the icons are like the YouTube icon, the YouTube Studio icon, some of the other icons that are mostly third party look a little bit like washed out, and I don't know why that would be. The liquid glass design to me is still kind of a mixed bag. Overall, the screen quality of this is super, super good. They have ceramic shield tube with a Mohs level of 5 and an anti-reflective coating, which is nice. You know that the Mohs rating is the level of hardness at which it takes to scratch something like keys and rocks and, you know, all kinds of different things have different levels of soft or hardness, however you want to put it. I guess. Anyway, Performance-wise, I have had no issues whatsoever. It feels peppy. It's got the A19 Pro chip in it. That's the chip that goes into the Pro and Pro Max phones. The only difference is that it has one fewer GPU cores than the Pro and Pro Max A19 Pro chips. But for most people, what you would really care about is the fact that there's no indication of stuttering, stopping, being weird at all with this guy so far. iOS 26, however, I need to do an entire video about iOS 26 because the issues that I have with iOS 26 and the liquid glass design go well beyond the time that I really want to take here with this video. And so we'll put a pin in that and come back to it later. Now, another, I guess, somewhat controversial thing about this whole deal is that the camera is a single lens camera on the back. You've got this, and Apple claims that it's many cameras in one. I don't know if that's true or how that would be true, but that's what they say. Many cameras in one. I've got some schmutz on there already. Let's wipe it. I haven't really dug into the picture quality of anything. I've been using iOS 26 for a while. And I don't know how I feel about this new camera design. The whole interface is different, and it's kind of bumming me out. Another question that we have about this is battery life, okay? According to GSM Arena and other places that I've seen, this has a 3149 milliamp hour battery. Other phones like, here's the Galaxy S25 Ultra has, I think, a 5,000 and something milliamp hour battery. So it's small. However, I've been using the phone now for several hours this morning and kind of going through it and trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to talk about as I do this video. And I'm at 94%. So I'd say that 2 or 3 hours of use, kind of doing my normal morning things and getting ready to make this video, I'd say that that's pretty good battery life so far. Apple did release another battery for, the MagSafe battery pack for this thing. It's thinner and longer than the original battery pack, but they did release one for this. And so that to me says maybe Apple's not super convinced that this thing is going to be enough battery, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll call this TBD. Tune in for a later video when I can talk more at length about long-term battery use. We've already talked about iOS 26 and decided to talk about it a little bit more because I just don't like the liquid glass design. The liquid glass buttons and all of the animations, the glass animations, looked really nice in Apple's presentations of them, but in my experience, and I used iOS 26 through the developer beta, through the public beta, all the way up to the first release and where we are right now, and there was not a time that I thought I liked it better. I tried doing different things. Some people were like, oh, it looks a lot better with just the glass, the clear icons. And so I tried that. And you tell me, like, this is almost illegible to me. And one of the problems is, too, that having clear stuff in here is problematic because it doesn't take into account how much we as human beings use color to sort of guide our eyeballs towards certain things. So having everything just be clear, I suppose you could adjust to it. Why, oh, why, oh, why would you want to? But it does retain the camera button. You've got your power button over here. You've got your volume right here, up and down, and of course the action button. And you can set the action button to be anything that you want. Right now, I had mine on the iPhone 16 Pro Max set for the flashlight because I just thought it's easier to get to the flashlight that way. But you can change it to several different things, lots of different functions. I kind of wish that there was like a double tap of the action button that would allow you to then access something else, like the camera, same way that you can do on the Android phones. I kind of wish there was a double tap here that wasn't just going to Apple Wallet, that was going to that you could program. But these are minor concerns in the greater scheme of things. Let's now talk about price. The lineup of the iPhones this year is weird, okay? And I didn't really realize how weird it was until I was going over all the stuff from the presentation, and I noticed that there was the iPhone 16e, the iPhone 17, the iPhone Air, Pro, and Pro Max. And there's no iPhone 17 Plus. And I know that a lot of people really liked the plus size. In fact, my wife got a 16 Plus not too long ago because her 14 Pro Max was getting a little long in the tooth. This is the Goldilocks iPhone for this cycle of iPhones. Yes, we have the Pro and Pro Max, and they are more powerful, and they are this, that, and the other thing. This seems like the feature phone to me, the one that Apple wants you to pay attention to, and for people in general to pay attention to, because the thinness is something pretty remarkable, and the overall experience. I can't explain to you what it feels like to hold a phone this thin. That's really the headline here. $999 to me is the Goldilocks iPhone price. That's for the 256 gigabyte model. The entire guts of the phone are in here. And that's an engineering feat in and of itself. We should not like take lightly. That's a very small space for all the guts of the phone to be in, as well as the camera and the flash and the microphone, all that kind of stuff. So maybe this is Apple saying like, hey, this is us moving toward super ultra thin phones. Some people have mentioned that this kind of miniaturization could be moving toward Apple being able to do more with less when it comes to Apple Vision Pro or some glasses that are coming down the road, something like that. People have also said that maybe this is like the first half of the Apple foldable phone, and maybe it is. And maybe if Apple does make a foldable iPhone, I will care. But right now, I mean, I'm just really enjoying this. You can still get the 16e, that's $599. You can then get the 17, starts at $799. This is $999. Then the Pro is $1099, and the Pro Max goes up to $1199. The iPhones have basically remained the same price. I don't know what that says. Let's conclude by saying this. I mean, the design and feel, the overall experience of using this phone, I can just hold it like this. It's very light. It is a different experience than you've probably had with any phone, and it is different in a good way. Even though I ranted and raved about it when it was announced, as I usually do, I rant and rave because I get all fired up about things. And then after time and a cooling down period, and I actually get the phone in my hand, I can see the benefits of what it is. So I encourage you to go out. If you don't have one of these and you don't want to get one of these, go out and grab it at your local phone store or Best Buy or Apple Store or whatever and check it out. I mean, ultimately, maybe over the next week or so, as I get ready for the longer review, this new car smell sort of excitement, the warm fuzzies of just this holding the phone this way will wear off, and I'll have something else to say about it. But for now, I really feel like it's something impressive. And so, who is this phone for? You might be asking yourself. I don't want to say it's for people who they just want a light phone. It is a fully functional, very powerful iPhone, okay? And being that, I think it's positioned as like the quote-unquote middle flat, like it's hard to call it a flagship with the Pro and Pro Max, but it's the one that Apple expects people to buy. I think that if you're wanting to get the iPhone that has the new hotness, then this is the phone to get. It kind of sits right there in that Goldilocks zone. Yeah, That's what I think. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed already, hit subscribe for the videos that are still to come. And if you've been subscribed for a long time, thanks so much for being here once again. Jason, Painfully Honest Tech, the podcast, maybe. Until the next time, I'm out.